Good morning YouTube, so I'm back here with another video, and today we're talking about a subject that is very controversial, or at least in most games is one of those hot topics. We're going to talk about power creeping, and we're going to specifically talk about power creeping in Infinite Magicraid. How does it work in this game, how has it been, and what is the expectations for the rest of the game here. And let me just take a sip of my coffee here. Have a nice evening, have a nice morning, guys. Okay, so let's get on with the video. Sorry about that, let's get on with the video here. Now, I've prepared this slideshow here, and I'm going to walk you through some of my thoughts on power creeping in Infinite Magicraid, and how is it at the moment, where did it go, and so forth. So let's just get into it, because this could be a rather long video, but I'll try to make it short but still informative. So first of all, some background story here. I started playing around 2 years ago, I think, maybe yeah, around two years ago or something like that. And back then, one of the best heroes that you could get was the guy you see on the left here, Nidroad. He was the top of the poppin', he was the cream, if you had him, you could do Guild Boss 6. You could do Guild Boss 5 and 6, and you could use him to do a lot of stuff on bosses. He was very strong, and was recommended as one of the best boss killers in the game. Nidro, nobody recommends him anymore. He is totally outdated. Instead, if we're going to look at how I'm going to show you some slides here with different tags. I'm going to talk a bit about PvP, how it has changed, and I'm also going to talk about PvE. How has it changed, and how fast has this power creeping been going on? Because it has been going on very fast, and some stuff that I will not be covering with my slideshow here is all the power creeping being done with all of the third-party powers that we get, like echoes, blessings, pets, stuff like that. I'll briefly mention it, but I will have a focus on just the heroes here and how I think that it is working, right? So if you take this down, just look at this image here. We have Nidroad, Lance, and Vasily. Now, Nidroad used to be the best bleed damage dealer, but then we got someone like Lance here. Actually, we got Morikis before Lance, but Lance really power crept the bleed damage meter, and now Lance has actually been power crept by Vasily. Vasily is doing almost 6 times the damage of Lance, actually, in some of those screenshots that I've seen. He is insane. He is used for boss killing, and in PvP is also the counter to Lance. Now, a lot of early game players, mid game players, new players have been recommended to go and get Lance. I've seen it on the Discord. Everyone is saying, hey, go get Lance, go get Lance. Use all your power to make Lance strong, you will win PvP. Well, guess what? If the enemy has a Vasily at exclusive 1, your Lance is going to be nullified for the first 2 turns. And if your enemy has another damage dealer that can kill Lance in those 2 turns, while your Lance can't do anything, you've been power crept. You've been absolutely annihilated here, and with just one ability and one hero, Lance is all of a sudden not really meta anymore. If you have Vasily, you're countering Lance. Lance is useless, okay? Now, I think Vasily is mostly countering Lance in early game and mid game and for beginning players, because in endgame Lance was already falling out of the meta. In PvP at least, he wasn't really in the meta anymore. So in that regard, he didn't change that much. You're going to win the mirror fight if you have Vasily and Lance on your team, and the other one don't have, but only have Lance, then obviously you're gonna get that extra win or that extra flag in endgame in 5 vs 5, but for 3 vs 3 Lance is not used anymore anyway. So in endgame Ultimate Division, Lance is out of the picture already, so Vasily didn't really change much in that regard. But in PvE, he is definitely doing a lot better, especially together with Nikki exclusive 3, where he gets the buff from Nikki. If you can manage to make him stronger than Lance, then or more attack than Lance, so he gets the buff, then he is definitely stronger, okay? Now, moving on here, we are having, let me see here if I can go like this. Yes, so we have the HP burn damage dealer, and again, when I started out 2 years ago, Sonya was the big deal. Then we got Quinlan, and everyone wanted Quinlan. I remember seeing a video from Kazakh the Bull on YouTube, and all he wanted was this, he wanted Quinlan so bad because he was the best HP burn damage dealer, and he could help you in dungeons, he could help you clear stuff, yeah, and he's just been power crept. Nobody cares about Quinlan anymore, nobody cares about Hisonia. Now the 7-day beginner thing where you get Hisonia, it's kind of useless, nobody really wants it, nobody cares about it. Quinlan, nobody cares about him, even if they put him into banners, nobody cares. So, and we have someone like Erato now. HP burn damage dealer like Erato, Narrate, Mamelo. Those kind of guys are just power creeping these guys over here. Even Ostian from the Holy Light faction, if you know who that is, he is power creeping these guys. Adeline, the Sunset little girl there, she is power creeping these guys here. And we have a lot like annihilating also from the Nameless Brotherhood, also power creeping these guys here. So we have a lot of HP burn damage dealers that has been power creeping these guys, and Erato is just cream of the cream, right? Power creeping everyone in the HP burn damage dealer. Nobody can touch Erato in an HP burn team, right? She is the queen. Okay, so we have the burn damage dealers, and this one is controversial, I think, kind of funny. But we had someone like Anna when I started. Anna and Ogmin were the two best HP burn damage dealers, and they were very strong in the beginning, actually, burn. But you don't see burn anywhere. Like, you don't see burn being used in PvP. It's one of the weakest PvE tags as well. It's where people struggle in Purgatory and Lioli, stuff like that. We really need a total, like a superb burn hero to carry us, right? So we had Anna, and then we got Little Jack. Little Jack was very high, one of the first, if not, I think he was the first limited hero in the game, actually. Yeah, he was the first limited hero in the game. And at the time when he came, he wasn't very strong, but then they buffed him, and he became very, very super good, right? And everyone wanted him because you needed him for the Dungeons 40. You needed him to put his unique 40% attack debuff onto bosses to being able to survive at that time, because we didn't have a lot of strong support like Murong Jing and Sun Wukong. We only had like, maybe you had a Nordic or something like that, that would be the best you had, right? And Luna and stuff like that. So he wanted his attack buff for the bosses to clear Dungeon 40. So that is what made him very good. Obviously he also does some damage, and if you build him with crit damage, crit rate, and a mastery build with focus on attack, he can do a lot of damage still, but it's nowhere near the amount that Chelsea can do. Now Chelsea with exclusive 3 is the best burn damage dealer in the game at the moment, and she has been here, actually, I feel she's been here for like a year now, so it's been a very long time since she has been power crept. So I think burn is going to get a power creeping very soon. Maybe the next limited hero or something like the summer hero could be a burn hero, burn damage dealer or something like that, because we can't have Chelsea being the best for so long. It doesn't really make sense in this game here. We don't have any limited heroes that are like helping a lot. We only have 2 burn limited heroes actually, and both of them are kind of support, and that's Big Jack and Little Jack. So yeah, not really great this tag here. We go to poison here. Nita has always been a good poison damage dealer in PvP and PvE. In PvE, not so much, mostly on AoE fights and to clear trash and stuff like that. She's strong. Boss fights, she lags a lot. She is not really good single target. But then they introduced Veronica into the game, and I think around maybe 1.5 years ago or something, when she got introduced, she was actually one of the strongest PvE single target dot damage dealers. Very, very strong, and most of her attacks is pure poison damage, so I think she was one of the first that had that kind of type where it didn't have the direct damage, but only a purely poison damage. Very strong, very good for Guild Boss 5 and 6. Helped me a lot in my account progression on single target, and today nobody cares about Veronica, right? She is kinda, nobody uses her anywhere. So now we have Giselle. Giselle is obviously the strongest poison hero in the game, but we also have other good mentionings like Willa and Imacado. Stuff like that is very strong for poison damage as well, so that is also some of the power creeping having been done. And this is just the last year or 1.5 years. This power creeping here has been very, very fast, okay? Now, when did it all begin? When did it all begin? Alright, so when did it all begin? I think it all began when we got Indra and Diamo in around, maybe it was December 2023 or something like that. We got the Saga City faction, and then we got these two here. These two here, they really changed the PvE meta. Before that, we didn't really have any damage dealers. Now, at first, I don't think the interaction between Indra and Diamo was like intended, but they just kept it in because they're really not nerfing stuff in this game. So once there's a bug or there's some positive thing, they don't really take it away, right? So I think it was never intended for Indra and Diamo to interact like this here, because otherwise they would have made a lot of ads about it. They would have maybe tried to hype it up, stuff like that, like a pair of like what they did with Des and Wuthering. But it is just how it is that Indra for some reason can absorb the thunderstorm stacks or whatever they're called from Diamo, which makes him do a lot of damage very quickly, right? So this was the first power creep in PvE, at least. That happened was when we got Indra and Diamo around a year and, well, 1.5 years ago. And ever since then, it's just been worse and worse and worse, or faster and faster at least. This was also before we got pets. We didn't have, I don't think maybe we had echoes actually, I can't remember. But we didn't have pets, we didn't have Arcane Gems and stuff like that, so this was one of the first. Now, when he came out, suddenly people could one key the Guild Boss 6. People had been struggling to try and do Guild Boss 6 on one key, but once he came, he just annihilated Guild Boss 6 and all of that. And even casuals and free-to-play like myself at the time, we could also one key the Guild Boss 6. He was crazy, he was very crazy. And then we got the Wuthering Coast, where he also helped a lot, doing a lot of damage to try and reach some of the higher marks, trying to get to 16 billion, which at the time, like 1 year, you'll see it at the end of the video, okay? But it was actually not that easy to get that 16 billion damage in Wuthering Coast, like just a year ago. People were still struggling to just hit 20 billion actually, right? So we'll see that at the end. I have a screenshot that you guys should see. So this is when I think it started. It started with Indra and Diamo, and after that, the power creeping has just been very crazy. So if you talk about PvP meta and how that has changed and how everything has been power creeped here, now we got Jingle Bell December 2023, I think, yeah. So that's when we got Jingle Bell, and obviously people use Jingle Bell, but they also used Melchio. Melchio actually was in the Cleave meta for some time. People managed to find out that they could give, what's his name, Melchio a lot of crit damage, just ignoring the crit rate, and just pump his crit damage and attack up very high so that you did a lot of damage, because his fire thing was guaranteed to crit anyways. So people built him very strong, and it was possible to use Melchio actually to kill stuff. Now, this was actually when Sun Wukong was released into the game. At that time, Jingle Bell was the king of DPS. But then Sun Wukong kind of stopped that, but then Melchio, because he had so much crit damage, could kind of ignore the tenacity buff from the Sun Wukong passive, and people started using Melchio again. Now, the Cleave meta team was pretty much the speed actually, and we got Popper introduced to the game, we got Ronai introduced to the game after that, and it was like when Ronai was introduced, anybody not having Ronai was at a disadvantage, because Ronai adds like 5 or 10, 5% turn meter for free at the beginning of battle. So even if you had a faster popper, if you didn't have Ronai on your team, the enemy popper would still start out first, right? Because 5% turn meter is a lot of turn meters you get for free if the opponent doesn't have it. So it was kind of an unfair fight. She also added some very important feebleness debuff and stuff like that to help reduce the defense and do more direct damage on the opposing team, helping Melchio being able to kill Sun Wukong, right? So this was how that worked. But that didn't last too long. Then they introduced Adkins to the game. Now Adkins was the power creep to Ronai teams, and she was supposed to just being the counter to that, because Adkins will pursue an attack whenever somebody gets the heal buff. And Ronai automatically cast the heal buff at exclusive 2 or 3, I can't remember. which made Adkins come into the meta, and Adkins could then kill Ronai, Pauper, and the Melchio teams and Jingle Bell teams for some also. And now Adkins was the counter to that issue. But that didn't last too long, because then we got into the summer of 2024. Actually, it's like the timing is so weird, right? It's only been a year or something. Or in the Easter of 2024, we got Beatrix introduced to the game. Now Beatrix, with a lot of effective and also capability of stun and helping, doing some more damage and also cleansing on her S4, kind of helped Melchio to get back into the meta again. But that didn't last too long, because then we got Erato in the summer of 2024 here, and Erato has actually two purposes that she is countering. One is that she stops the pursue and attacks from Adkins, so Adkins could no longer pursue and attack, because one of the passives of Erato is that she stops that pursue and attack. But she's also having a passive that kind of mitigates it at max 25% HP, right? So you can't take more than 25% damage per stage of attack. And since Melchio has a 3-stage attack, that meant that he could not one-shot people anymore. He could only get people to 25% at max because of the passive from Erato. So that kind of stopped the Melchio Cleave team, and it also stopped the Adkins team. So you see, Erato was a counter to that meta. But so if you wanted to win in the classic arena, then you had to get Erato. Now, at the anniversary last year, we also got Murong Jing introduced to the game. Now Murong Jing was kind of helping to stop the automatically HP burn damage going from Erato, because he would heal the team up a bit when they got low in HP, and he could kind of stop that. So Murong Jing was a semi-counter to Erato, and if you didn't have Murong Jing, then you were at a disadvantage. You had to get Murong Jing to exclusive 3, otherwise if the enemy had it, you would be at a disadvantage. Now if you move forward here, then we got Lance introduced to the game. Now for a long time it felt like, or at least a few months, actually Erato plus Lance was the meta, and they ran the show. It went something like having a very strong Lance that just nuked everybody from the beginning of the battle, and then procced Erato, and Erato would just annihilate or obliterate the rest of the team, right? So Lance and Erato in the classic arena meta was also a thing here in the fall last year. Very strong, and it could also counter the Murong Jing because of all the Terminator down and all the other stuff. There was just too much damage going on, so Murong Jing couldn't really help with it alone on his own, right? So these two guys here, Erato and Lance, actually ran the arena show for some time, or the meta. But then we got Giselle. In Halloween 2024, we got Giselle introduced to the game, and she is a counter to both Erato and Lance actually. So if you have her, you can counter Erato, you can counter Lance, and the reason is that she automatically do her attacks once the entire team has been hit, and Lance is hitting the entire team from the beginning, so it procs Giselle. Giselle then opens up, stuns, she can't stun Lance, but she can stun Erato. She can also apply attack down debuff to Lance, and she can apply all the poison debuff and the fright debuff and the damage reduction, all of that to Erato, and pretty much making her useless, right? Also because the thing is that another thing that counters Erato here is that Giselle is applying up to, I think, 10 poison fright debuffs and 10 normal poison debuffs. So because Erato's passive is only reducing 25% HP on 4 stages, now imagine taking damage from 20 layers of poison debuff at once. Well, her passive is not stopping that, right? Because it's gonna be less than 25% damage per tick of poison, but it's going to be 20 of those, so it's just too much to being able to not stop it from her passive, right? So Giselle is countering these guys here. Now, Then at Christmas 2024, it's only been 5 months, but it feels like longer, we got Marie introduced to the game. Now Marie exclusive 2 is stopping all dot damage, and you can only kill Marie if you have, like if you crit her, right? So direct damage dealer is kinda in again, dot damage dealer is out again, and now we have a meta with direct damage dealer that's trying to crit as hard as possible to try and kill Marie. So Marie counters Giselle, and Giselle became pretty much useless on her own at least, and now we have Marie that counters that. Marie also counters Erato, she also counters some of the other ones like Lance and stuff like that. So Marie is kind of power creeping every dot damage dealer in the game, and making them pretty much useless. So Marie is super strong. Now, if we take a look at this picture here, and that's just, I tried to do some overview here of how it is going. If you take from left to right, we can see that Erato countered Melchio and Adkins, but then Giselle counters Erato, and then we have Marie who counters both Giselle and Erato. And this is how it is right now, right? So I did not put Nikki into this power creeping here, but I could have put her in. But essentially, Nikki is semi-countering Marie because of her exclusive tree, where you can only get to like 66% HP and then 33% XP, and then you can try and heal up, which kind of stops Marie from one-shotting you because Marie is very strong. But obviously, what you have to remember is that all of these heroes here, yes, one by one they are countering each other, but then you have like, it's a team, right? So you have 5 heroes. And most of them are these heroes that we've already talked about because they counter each other, but they also help each other. So a team with Marie, Murong Jing, Giselle, or Marie, Murong Jing, and Erato, stuff like that, will be on the same team, countering different parts of each other, but also helping each other, right? So that is why I think the meta, at least in Ultimate Division, at the very highest tier. Now I'm in King tier, right? I'm doing very high stuff here in PvP, and everyone is running the same team of Erato, Apsara, Nikki, Murong Jing, and Erato, all with a Giselle instead of Erato. That is the current team in the meta. It's just 5 limited heroes, right? And it's 5 heroes that can counter each other in some kind of way, right? Now, Apsara I didn't even put in here, but she's like a topic on her own. Her HP deduction thing is not like... Even if you're doing 1 damage with your against the Giselle or against the Marie or something like that, if you're only doing 1 damage, Apsara is still absorbing the full amount behind the line. So once Apsara's HP deduction thing is proccing, it's actually taking the full amount of damage that you would have taken instead of the damage that you have taken. So even if it says you're only doing 1 damage, maybe because of Giselle Echo or whatever, Apsara's HP deduction in the background is still absorbing the full amount, and she'll unleash the full amount into your head and you will be dead. That's why Apsara is doing so much damage in PvP at the moment, okay? But this is how it looks at the moment, and I think very soon we will get some counter to Marie or to this meta here, because that's how it works. They keep changing it up. They tried with the Griffin pet right now. The Griffin pet is super strong, probably one of the strongest PvP pets at the moment. I would still advise you to go for the Unicorn pet though, because you can use it more in PvP and PvE, where I think the Griffin pet is mostly for PvP. But that is a side story, right? Now let's look at PvE here. Now, I found some old screenshots yesterday when I was doing this video here, when I wanted to do this power creeping video. And as you can see, this is just it's a year and 4 months ago, okay, on the left side. And then on the right side is yesterday, right? So I found the screenshot that I had from Bailey. The thing is that a year ago, a little over a year ago, I was a free-to-play player, low spender, whatever you call it. $10 a month or something like that, right? And so my team was only doing 5, maybe 6 billion damage. So I took a screenshot back then of this Bailey team here. And if you don't know Bailey, he was one of the biggest spenders in the game, like an account with 200,000 value, US dollars value, or something like that, crazy. And this is his team a year ago. Okay, so this is like one of the best team at the time a year ago, and you can see he's using Lucifer in his direct damage team. He's having, well, Sora in the poison team, with Veronica in his poison team. Many of these heroes here you see in the picture, like annihilating for the HP burn team, Catherine, they're not used anymore, okay? They're not used. He even uses Seth in his direct damage deal in space, right? Just to get some extra damage out. So you can see the numbers here, they are so low compared to what we have now, okay? And this was the top guy, Bailey, one of the biggest spenders in the game. This was his best team here a year and 4 months ago. Let's just let this image sink in for a bit. Now on the right side, this is from yesterday. I took the top player. It has nothing to do with him being a Bushido like me. He is just the one that does the most damage when I took the screenshot yesterday. And now you can see he's doing 181 billion damage and Bailey was doing 23 billion damage. The power creeping is insane in PvE and PvP. Look at the direct damage team on the screenshot to the right. He's doing 133 billion damage, while the direct damage team, if you look on the other side here, I think it's the Jingle Bell team maybe, or even the Lucifer team, 3 billion, 1 billion. Yeah, you can see the power creep. Even looking at the poison team with Giselle, Wheeler, Imikado, Penny being added, doing 7.4 billion. Back then it was 1 billion. Okay, HP burn, it's the same, doing 23 billion damage. It used to do 2 billion damage, and this is just a year and 4 months ago. Now, as you can also see in the screenshot to the left and the right, we've obviously had pets introduced, or spirit beast introduced to the game, because they are not on the left side here. So January last year, pets weren't a thing. We've had the spirit beast introduced, we've had the Arcane gems introduced, which is also crazy. And we've had new echoes introduced, stuff like that, that really helps making everything stronger, right? And obviously, I'm assuming that a year ago or something like that, a lot of mythic skills wasn't really being used at the time. Now everything is mythic gear and stuff like that, right? But it's just to show the crazy amount of power creeping that has been going on for the last year or so, with all of those heroes that if you don't get them, if you don't buy them, if you don't like summon them, you're falling behind in this game, okay? You're falling behind. You have to keep up if you want to compete at the very top, if you want to be the best, if you want to clear stuff. You need the pets, you need the blessings, you need the echoes, you need the Arcane gems, you need the correct heroes, you need all of this, you need exclusives for them. And everything here, it can, well, 99% of it can only be gotten if you use your wallet. You have to spend money to get these things here. You won't get a team like the one on the right side by free-to-play or low spender. You won't, okay? It costs thousands of dollars. Even the team on the left side here is, I mean, these heroes that Bailey had a year ago or something like that, he probably used $20,000 to get all of those exclusives and whatnot on that picture, right? Oh yeah, we can also see we had the breakthrough thing on the since last year, right? So now we can go to 180 on our heroes. Now it's just to say that we have a lot of power creeping going on, and the last year has been crazy. The first year not so much, it didn't really move that much, I think, from year 1 to 2, but the last year, crazy, okay? And if this keeps up, if this just continues to like being a power creeping every time, then I don't know in which direction the game is going, okay? You have to, like, it's like we have maybe 300 heroes in the game now, and the last 50 heroes or something that has been introduced in the last, or even just the last 30 heroes maybe. If you don't have those, but you have some of the other 200 heroes, well, you are at a disadvantage, okay? And to be honest, you could just take the 200 other heroes and just trash them in the trash bin, put them out of the game, and just keep the last 30 heroes or something like that we've had the last year, because those 30 heroes are doing so much more than 200 of all of these older heroes, okay? So that's kind of my point with this video here, is to showcase the power creeping going on in PvP and PvE and how massive it is. I don't think I grasped it like before a few days ago when I thought about doing this video here, and I wanted to showcase the absurdity of this power creeping going on. It's crazy, okay? And it's kind of exhausting as well. Now I've begun spending some money and stuff like that, And it's kind of exhausting in somehow, because we have to keep spending to keep up, and there's just so many areas that you need to spend on to keep to right, like echoes, $50, blessing $50, pets $100 per copy, exclusive $100 per copy, stuff like that, right? And if you don't do it, then, well, you might as well just like be total casual, free to play, whatever, but you won't be competing at the top then, okay? And this is probably how it is in other games as well, I don't know. But in this game, I just feel like the last year, the power creeping, the pay to win power creeping has been insane. Anyways, guys, that was it for me for today. I hope you have a nice evening or morning. Cheers. Bye.